Today I'm going to make one of those dancing arcade games. So you've got a bunch of arrows on the floor that correspond to the different directions that we have to travel in, and then you've got a screen where the directions come down on it. Dance Dance Revolution is a good example. Guitar Hero is sort of an example, but it's a guitar. I wanted to do this for ages, and I think I have a good idea on how to do it. Let's start things off with the screen. Now this should, in theory, be the easiest part of the process. How big do we want the screen to be? Maybe 10 redstone lamps. This is how much warning we get for each move. I mean, that looks pretty good to me. So each one of these pillars of lights here correspond to a different dance move, and the direction will travel down, and we need to bust the move as it hits this block. Or maybe as it hits this block, so that it's actually lit up as it's happening. How fast is this? Oof, okay, you gotta have some pretty serious reaction time. I've added a few extra blocks on top. So whenever we send an update through any of these top observers, you can see that the redstone lamps light up, travel down the line, and then eventually hit our correct zone. So this first part is done, really nice and easy. Now let's move to the beat order. So this is the redstone circuit that sends our pulses through these redstone lines. And here's the thing. I want it to be exactly the same every single time you play a song in Minecraft, and I also want to have the ability to have multiple songs stored in the system with different beat patterns. And that is not particularly easy, but I think I have a good idea, and it's making use of the jukebox and record discs, which is incredibly fitting for this redstone contraption. I've somehow broken the game. I think I've removed the music disc a little bit too fast. The sound is coming from this air block. How long is this song? I just want it known that I also agree this seems like a weird way of doing things. So, as of a recent Minecraft update, we can now put discs and remove discs from jukeboxes, and I'm actually going to use that with a red coder to program our beats into the system. Now, I am really curious to see if this actually works. If I put a bunch of discs inside here... Okay. So just to quickly clarify what's happening here, the disc is going in and is immediately being pulled out. But then if we just look out the back here, if I say get various different music discs with different signal strengths attached to them, something along these lines, we can then program in a sequence of redstone signal strengths. This is pretty cool to watch. It's kind of weird. It's a super weird system and it works. It's so fast. Okay, that's really quick. But we can use this little circuit here, this tiny little thing, to program in our dance moves and then have different shulker boxes for different songs. Or I guess different batches of shulker boxes. We went through an entire shulker box really quickly there, so I guess an entire song will probably be a double chest's worth of shulker boxes. Now to decode the output from the jukebox into something usable, we need to use a red coder. This is a regular red coder. I've used them a bunch, but I don't think this design will be fast enough. And also, it uses redstone torches, so if we get a bunch of the same disc going through, that redstone torch is going to be turning on and off very quickly. And redstone torches don't like that. So I'm currently in a world by Andrews Tech MC, and they have designed a really interesting stateless one-wide red coder. I'll put a link to their video down in the description because it is really interesting, and their design seems to work. So if you imagine the redstone is doing this, you can see that we are getting different individual outputs depending on what disc goes in. And as far as I can tell, nothing bad will happen even if I just hold down the right click button here. You can see we are getting a constant single output. So let's get this built on top of our design. So if I put this disc in, the first one clicks on. If I put this disc in, the second one clicks on. This disc is the third one, and that disc is the fourth one. This is currently looking a lot simpler than I was expecting it to. So now I just need to take what I built down at the bottom here, our automatic inputter of discs, and pop that up at the top here. So I've programmed in a little sequence here, and if I plonk this on top of the hopper... Okay, oh my goodness. Is this working? I mean, it looked good. I can't imagine being able to dance that fast. I think it might be smart if we got a half the speed of this thing. Hopefully that will make things a tiny bit more manageable. Okay, this seems like the sort of pace that you would want to dance at, and it is looking good. It's looking hard. Like, this looks like it will be a challenge, but it seems like everything is working properly. This is actually working correctly, which is really, really cool. Next up on the to-do list is to add a shulker box unloading system, which all seems to be working correctly, except it's not. Or at least something is going wrong here. You see, this shulker box down on the bottom here should have exactly the same sequence of discs as the shulker box that I put in, but it doesn't. Oh, of course. Oh, so the reason why is the first slot of the hopper is being emptied, and then the next disc that comes in goes into the first slot, so the order is being jumbled up. Okay. This is a potentially bodged solution. I wonder what happens if I lock both of these hoppers at the same time. Oh my goodness. It's actually looking good. So this is the new one. Are they the same? They look the same to me. Well, that was a simple fix to a potentially complicated problem. So I now have both the shulker box unloader and the shulker box loader all in place. This shulker box unloader design is by Samos the Sage. Link will be down in the description. And this shulker box loader design is by Kale. Link also down in the description. So with these redstone circuits in place, we can now use, say, a chest minecart, park it on top of this hopper here. It will take all of the shulker boxes out. We'll go through all of the shulker boxes of music discs, giving us a really long sequence to dance to, and then we can refill all of those shulker boxes and refill the chest minecart, so then the sequence of the song is stored and repeatable. And not only that, but we have different sequences for different songs. Oh, I just realized we're going to run into the same problems that we had earlier with the order of the discs, remember? Well, we're going to have that with the shulker boxes as well, multiplied by like 10, because we've got dispensers involved now as well, and they're random. So we're going to get a random order. It's not even going to be consistently wrong, it's going to be inconsistently wrong, the worst kind of wrong. This required a decent chunk of my brain power to solve, but I have just about managed it with a bunch of rather strange looking redstone circuits. So now if I take some shulker boxes, place them inside this minecart chest and give it a nudge along, you can see that they all get unloaded in order. So we've got the white one, and then it will be the grey one, and then the dark grey one. And then down at the bottom, the chest minecart is then going to be filled with a brown, a white, and then a light grey one. The reason for this is because they are one shulker box colour out of sync, but the contents will be correct. Our minecart is coming down. Okay, brown, white, and then the grey one is the one that's currently being loaded up. And that has been broken, and our chest minecart travels off. Nice. What a weird mess. And to be honest, the weird mess is continuing because I'm now doing the song storage. So this is where all of the different sequences are going to be stored. And thankfully, this all seems pretty straightforward. So I think for the time being, I'm going to have 4 different songs stored within the system, and I'm only going to do one of the sequences because I imagine that is going to be a pain, but we're a very, very long way off from that currently. The next thing on the to-do list is to create the song playing circuit. This one is actually, yeah, it's pretty important. It's the one that plays the song that we're meant to be dancing to. And I will say at this point, I understand that a lot of my redstone explanations are becoming somewhat incoherent. This system involves a bunch of slightly strange devices. Okay, so whichever minecart is missing will have their block retracted, which means that is the redstone circuit that will be activated when the shulker box travels through this part of the system. That block being retracted will then power this circuit underneath, which is our record playing circuit. So this record will drop down into the jukebox, start playing. I've also connected up all of the inputs to all of the minecarts up at the top here, and they're connected up to these buttons. So each one of these buttons corresponds to a different song that we can play. By the way, it is now day 2 of me working on this thing. And let's see where we have gotten to. If I hit this button here, we should see... Okay, minecart is left. Song is playing, which is good. And the sequence is being removed from the minecart. So you can see my sequence of just the single right direction is all working. This will go on for a little while. All of our shulker boxes are being stored down at the bottom. Everything looks good. Our minecart has moved off, so it should pick up the 2 shulker boxes, and then we're just waiting on this shulker box to fill up. Once that's done, that minecart should return back up to the top. Okay, here it goes. Shulker box. Off it pops. And into position. Nice. Now, obviously, I haven't done anything currently to match up the length of the sequence to the length of the song. So, obviously, I wouldn't have to right-click on any of the jukeboxes or anything like that. It would eventually stop playing, go into here, and then be put back up into this hopper. Nice. So all of the sequencing stuff and the song storage is now all up and running. Now we just need to do the player position detector. I did just try and find a Raygun Minecraft skin. I thought that would be really funny, but they don't exist. This should actually be really, really easy. So if we're standing on any of the pressure plates, it will push the block to this position. And as long as the block is in front of the observer, as the redstone signal comes down, it will power this redstone line and a point will be scored. I know most of these games in real life also penalize you if you are pressing a button or standing on a pressure plate when there isn't a direction to do so, but that seemed unfair in Minecraft. Pressure plates are quite big, it's hard not to stand on 2 of them at once, and also they're quite sticky, they take a long time to release. So it just seemed wrong. Don't know why I'm using gold blocks. I'm feeling baller today. So I've added in these little pistons out the front, which move the glass blocks in front of the lamp. I think this is a pretty good indicator to show that you are actually standing on the correct pressure plate and should clearly indicate when you are scoring points. I've also added this glass border, so if you get a little bit too vigorous, you're not going to fall off the platform. Now I just need to connect our orange line into a score counter. You absolutely should do this. These stackable counting 7-segment displays by MyZuma Games are absolutely fantastic. Again, a link will be down in the description. So each time I right click on this note block here, you can see our counter goes up by 1, and if I hit this button, it resets it. Fantastic. Now, I'm really curious. Am I able to detect what number is actually being displayed? So we've got 2 redstone dust being switched off. Let's put some pistons in. So we've got 2 redstone dust being switched off, and then if I right-click on this again, 3. Okay. Okay, that means that we can do some interesting logic with our score counter, potentially. I'm about to say something that I might not be able to pull off. I would like to be able to store high scores, and we would need separate high scores for each of the different songs. This is a big and scary project. My score circuit seems to be working properly. I'm just standing on this pressure plate. I am so good at dancing. Look at me go. Right, let's see if it actually carries over. So that's gone to 0, that's gone to 1. Perfect. Everything is counting up correctly. It seems to be keeping time. This is good. Now I just need this little line, which will reset our score counter when we press a button for a new song. Good. So in theory, the machine is now done, but I want to see if I can get high scores working. Okay. So if the signal strength coming out of here is stronger than the signal strength going into here, which this is the high score, then the high score should count up as well. The logic of that was fundamentally correct. There were a few extra considerations that I had to make. For example, if your high score is 41, then of course, as this one starts counting up, it will go to 1, and then it will go to 2, and technically 2 is bigger than 1, so this one would start changing. So this little circuit checks what the place value is first. There's also this little circuit, which resets this high score when this changes. So say we went from 49 to 50, the 9 would be reset back to 0. And I've got to say, I'm really, really happy with this thing. I mean, it all seems to be working reliably. You can see our score is currently counting up down at the bottom. Go to 40, 41, and then as soon as it starts going past the high score, you can see the high score is counting up. And if we turn off this redstone clock, then both of the numbers will match up. It will stay the same, and then if we reset this, our high score up at the top there sticks around. Now, my only frustration has been the fact that we have multiple songs inside this machine, which means we need multiple high scores, which means I need to store a bunch of redstone signal strengths that need to be able to change, and we need to know which ones change. And it has driven me up the wall being able to do it, and I just can't pull it off, at least not in a way that is tidy and practical, or most importantly, reliable. So after spending an entire evening on it, I decided to cut my losses and instead switch out one of my 7-segment displays for a potential score indicator. So what we've got here is the top shows what your score is. This is the number of points that you managed to achieve. The one at the bottom is the number of points that you could have scored while playing the song. Because of course, we've got 4 different songs up here. They all have different durations they play for, which means that the number of points that you could score changes with every song that you play. And knowing how well you did is actually a very useful metric. I'm really glad that I added this. It would have felt strange not having it. So this will definitely come in handy in the future, and I look forward to using it, but this actually seems better. And with that grade A copium deployed, let's start mapping out some dance moves. And I actually wanted to do this in a semi-accurate way so that the dance moves kind of reflect what is happening in the song. So I dropped the clip into editing software and then almost mapped out a sequence depending on the beats. It's not perfect, but it kind of works. So now, let's bust out some moves. I've got my sequences all mapped out with the music discs. I just need to remember that left is back, right is forward. That doesn't make sense to my brain. Seems like it should be the opposite way around, but this is the way it was in Dance Dance Revolution, and I'm gonna honor it. Okay, here goes. I'm scared. We're off to a strong start, though. Strong start. Strong start. Oh, I almost lost it. My brain. Okay. Keep it. No. I think I'm losing it. Left. No. No, I've forgotten the order. So left is back. Left is back. Just keep an eye on the arrows. Left is back. Yes. Left. Right. Left. Right. Really left. Really right. Really left. Really right. Really left. Leftish. Rightish. Oh yeah. No, this seems to work from my brain. That's all I just need to keep saying in my head. Oh, see, as soon as I stop saying it, max concentration. It's falling apart. I should have turned up my field of view. My reaction time. Oh no. Yeah, this is the bit that, see, this is the bit, like, I kind of feel this part. Like, I can feel out what it's going to do. All the rest of the song, though, is a mess. Oh. Gordon Bennett. What did we get? What? We broke into triple digits. Okay, 103 out of 135. I'm not mad at that. Now it's time to check something that I'm fearful of. We need to see if the discs in this minecart match up with the discs that I already have. They do. Yes. Okay. Brilliant. That means if I hit that button again, everything would be exactly the same. The sequence would be exactly the same. I could learn the dance moves, get progressively better. But if I hit a different button, then a different song will start playing, and a different sequence will be launched. Oh my goodness. Okay, I know what I've got to do this afternoon. I'm addicted already. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. When will I learn this order?